Hey everyone, I hope you found value in my videos so far, and this week is dedicated to all of you out there who love to snowboard and ski. With the upcoming season quickly approaching, it's highly important that we start preparing our bodies to prevent any potential injuries. One of the most common injuries that can happen when engaging in these wonderful mountain sports is to sprain or potentially fracture your wrist. Luckily, there's a lot that can be done with physical therapy to prevent the likelihood that this will happen to you. That's what this week's video is all about. I hope you find it really helpful, and be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you're an individual who unfortunately has had a number of wrist injuries in the past, maybe you're aware that you have weak wrists, maybe you've sprained your wrist a number of times, or maybe even had an injury that involved a fracture to your wrist, and also you're somewhat new to skiing or snowboarding, I would highly recommend purchasing a wrist brace before you begin. The reason why this is that when you start to learn skiing or snowboarding, obviously you will be falling a lot as you learn. And one of the most common ways that the wrist is injured is by falling back on an outstretched hand and with that amount of force compressing the wrist. So one way we can prevent injuries to the wrist that way is just by adding a bit more stability to the wrist. Now, there are so many different types of braces out there. There are more rigid braces and more softer braces. And ultimately, will just depend upon what works better for you and your personal preference style. Obviously, the more rigid braces will give you more protection, but they will compromise the amount of range of motion and mobility you have in your wrist. The softer braces, given more awareness to the area, may be enough. And that would be where I'd start if you're kind of debating whether or not to wear a brace or not. Even something that's thin will again give you more awareness and perception of the area, helping to protect the area. In addition to that, there are 6 strengthening exercises that can be performed to add extra stability to the wrist to help to protect it. So to begin, there are 6 different directions of the wrist: flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, supination, and pronation. And by strengthening all these 6 directions, you will add a lot more stability to your wrist, and your likelihood of injuring your wrist while skiing or snowboarding will be much less. So to strengthen these areas, you want to use a dumbbell, works the best. Depending on your level of strength, you're going to want to find a weight that provides you with a moderate to strong resistance. Following that, you can put some support underneath your forearm if you like, and you're trying to let the weight roll down your fingertips and then curl up for flexion. Again, rolling down the fingertips, curling up. To build strength, you want to work 10 to 15 repetitions, 2 sets, twice a day in preparation of the upcoming season. Pretty straightforward to do. You can do it almost anywhere. You just need your dumbbell. The second exercise is, again, flipping your arm so that you can work on extension. Again, you can place some support under the forearm if it makes it more comfortable for you. Moving slowly is emphasized. Oftentimes people want to really rush through the exercises, but moving slow will give you a lot more value. So just slow and controlled. Then switching to radial deviation. To do that, I'd put the end of the weight in your palm. So curling back. Why it's called radial deviation is that your radius is on this side of your forearm. And similarly, your ulna is on the other. So it's radial and ulnar deviation, deviating towards the radius and then deviating towards the ulna. Again, nice, slow, and controlled. Ulnar deviation can be either performed here if you don't have any shoulder problems, that can be a little bit awkward, so oftentimes I perform it down by my side, here. Then getting into supination and pronation. So this video has been all about what can we do to help prevent injuries to our wrists when skiing and snowboarding. But there are so many different topics I could post about. It all just depends on what you guys would like to see. So please post your comments below and subscribe so that I can create a meaningful video for you or a loved one to improve quality of life. This is Dr. John Mayo, physical therapist, really hoping that this program is helpful for you or a loved one and improves your life.